Some of you are exhausted because you are not only making decisions for your life, you are preparing closing arguments for everybody who might disagree with them. You cannot simply say no. You have to explain why. You cannot change your mind. You have to present evidence. You cannot leave. You have to convince everybody that leaving was justified. You cannot protect your peace without writing a dissertation about what happened. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that if people do not understand your decision, maybe you are not allowed to make it. That is a dangerous way to live. Tap the screen if you have ever over-explained yourself because you did not want somebody thinking badly of you. There is a difference between communication and begging for permission. Healthy communication says, "This is what I have decided." Over-explaining says, "Please agree with me so I can feel comfortable doing what I already know I need to do." That second one will wear you out. Because some people are not confused. They understand exactly what you are saying. They simply do not like the answer. You can explain a boundary 6 different ways, and somebody who benefited from you having no boundary may still pretend not to understand. You can explain why you need space, why you cannot lend the money, why you are leaving the relationship, why you changed careers, why you are moving, why you do not want to discuss something, and they may still say, "But why?" Sometimes why is not a request for information. Sometimes why is an attempt to reopen negotiations. You need to learn the difference. Black people are often expected to translate ourselves constantly. Explain the hair, explain the name, explain the tone, explain why something was offensive, explain why you are uncomfortable, explain why something that looks small to somebody else carries a larger history for you. That constant translation can become a habit. Then you start explaining yourself everywhere, even when no explanation is required. You begin treating your own decisions like they need outside approval. They do not. Share this with somebody who keeps trying to make everybody understand them. You are allowed to say, "That does not work for me." Full stop. You are allowed to say, "I am not available." Full stop. You are allowed to say, "I changed my mind." Full stop. You are allowed to say, "I am not discussing that." Full stop. You do not always owe the footnotes. Some people will accuse you of being rude when what they really mean is that you are no longer easy to pressure. Let them adjust. There is something powerful that happens when you stop trying to control everybody's interpretation of you. You get energy back. Think about how much energy is spent replaying conversations. Maybe I should have said it differently. Maybe I sounded too harsh. Maybe they think I am selfish. Maybe I should text again. Maybe I should explain one more time. Meanwhile, the other person has already moved on with their day, and you are holding a board meeting in your head. That has to stop. Not because you should become careless with people, because your peace cannot depend on universal approval. Follow. If you are learning how to choose peace without writing a 5-page explanation for it, some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you speak. Some will misunderstand you because they only know the version of you that tolerated more. Some will misunderstand you because accountability makes them uncomfortable. Some will misunderstand you because your decision interrupts what they wanted. You cannot fix all of that. Your responsibility is to be honest, respectful, and clear. Their responsibility is what they do with the information. That division of responsibility will save you years of emotional labor. There is another reason we over-explain. We are afraid of becoming the villain in somebody else's story. Listen carefully. You will be the villain in some stories simply because you stopped doing what somebody wanted. You may be the selfish friend because you stopped paying. The difficult employee because you asked for fairness. The ungrateful relative because you stopped tolerating disrespect. The cold ex because you stopped answering. Their version of the story is not your identity. You cannot spend your life remaining injured because you are afraid the person hurting you might describe you unfairly afterward. Let them tell the story. You live the truth. If that hits something in you, tap the screen and send this to somebody who needs it. You also do not need to explain every dream before it exists. Some of you announce an idea and then spend more energy defending the idea than building it. Everybody gets an opinion. Everybody becomes an expert. Everybody tells you what could go wrong. Now the dream that excited you feels heavy. Protect some things. You can build quietly. You can study quietly. You can save quietly. You can plan quietly. You can change quietly. Privacy is not dishonesty. Sometimes privacy is strategy. Every seed does not need an audience. Some things need roots before they need exposure. And when you finally move, people may say, "Why didn't you tell me?" Because it did not require a committee. That is enough. Write, "I do not need permission" in the comments if you are breaking the habit of over-explaining. This does not mean you never owe explanations. If your decision directly affects somebody you are responsible to, communication matters. If you made a commitment, accountability matters. If you harmed somebody, accountability matters. But accountability and self-erasure are not the same. You can explain without surrendering authority over your life. You can apologize without begging somebody to approve your existence. You can hear another perspective without abandoning your own. That is maturity. Before you leave this message, think about one decision you have been explaining repeatedly. Ask yourself a simple question. Have I already communicated clearly? If the answer is yes, maybe you do not need another explanation. Maybe you need consistency. Let your boundary become the explanation. Let your behavior become the explanation. Let your absence from chaos become the explanation. Let your peace become the explanation. Repeat this to yourself. I do not need everybody to agree with me. I do not need everybody to understand me. I will communicate clearly without begging for permission. I am allowed to change. I am allowed to say no. I am allowed to protect unfinished dreams. I am allowed to leave conversations that exist only to pressure me. My life does not require a unanimous vote. I will stop explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. I choose clarity. I choose peace. And I trust myself enough to make decisions without turning my life into a courtroom.